Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to the second half of the broadcast, the second half of the Thermal 2v2 Circuit February edition 2025. We just went through the round of 32, round of 16, and quarterfinals, and now we are here with the semi-finals. We have 4 teams remaining. We have Serral alongside ZhuGeLiang, Clem, Trigger, Laser, Skillus, and MaxPax and Spirit. Here we go. And again, we are kind of debuting in a way the duo between Serral and ZhuGeLiang. We've seen Serral play 2v2s before alongside Oliveira, for example. We've seen plenty of Serral's 2v2 in the past, but not in this kind of setting, not in this setting, and not in this pairing either. So I'm ready, I'm excited. We're going to be jumping into game 1 here, going to be jumping into Undercurrent. Let's go. And I'm sure there's going to be a much greater challenge here for Serral and ZhuGeLiang, as Clem and Trigger, they are last month's runner-up. They are the runner-up and spawning in the top right-hand corner of Undercurrent once again. It's been a bit of a more popular map, not gonna lie. Seen it quite a bit here, almost in every single series. We have our Finnish duo. We have our red Zerg players in Serral and ZhuGeLiang. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have the Canadian and Italian duo. We have the runner-up here from last month. We have Clem and Trigger. Here we go. Clem and Trigger up against Serral and ZhuGeLiang, and so far we have seen some interesting builds here. If you recall, in the last series we had Serral rushing into a very fast lair timing into 2-base Muta in game 1, alongside ZhuGeLiang playing Roaches. Game 2 we had ZhuGeLiang playing Roaches once again, but instead it was ZhuGeLiang going for a faster lair into faster Roach speed, and Serral going for a later timing, getting into Ling Hydra instead. So we have seen some different styles here, some slight variations out of ZhuGeLiang, some different compositions out of Serral. We'll see how they do adjust and adapt compared to Clem and Trigger, who I would say are some of the favorites to win the entire tournament. They are the favorites. There's a lot of experience between the two of them as well. Have a lot of experience as a duo partner. Serral and ZhuGeLiang, I would imagine less so. I say imagine because, I mean, maybe they do ladder all the time on 2v2. It's possible. It's possible. All the time. As we have our standard openers, a hatch gas pool from both ZhuGeLiang and Serral. Likewise, Clem going for his own Rax expand here on the low ground. Economic opener. Just standard opens here all around. Nothing crazy, nothing too wild. Trigger is taking the pocket base. Meanwhile, Clem is expanding towards their opponents instead. Taking the expansion on the left-hand side. Likewise, the Zerg duo have left the pocket base for a later time, for a later date. Again, you typically want to expand towards your opponent as well to help spread creep across the map, to be that much more assertive, to have that much more map control. As Ling speed is on the way for both players. As we do see ZhuGeLiang pulling out of gas a little bit earlier. A little bit. Reaper dips in, dancing with the army. So far, no major losses. Oh, Lings are keeping up. Reaper takes a lot of hits. Queen has arrived, and with that, Serral, he will defend. Meanwhile, ZhuGeLiang, he has actually not researched Ling speed. He has the gas for it. He has even pulled out, but no Ling speed whatsoever. We have seen a lot of Roach play out of ZhuGeLiang, so we could see that again, or we could even see him going into a faster lair. So our eyes are on our red Zerg player here. One of them at least. Likewise, Serral, he's pulled out. He's pulled out completely. So a much more standard setup here by Serral. Going hatch gas pool. Do see ZhuGeLiang now taking his third base. Both players are, Serral and ZhuGeLiang. ZhuGeLiang going for the gold. I mean, this base is going to be a lot of contention here, a lot of fights. It's going to be a contested area. And Serral will have a more robust economy going for the pocket base. This makes sense. Like, Serral's going to be left alone a little bit more. He'll have the greater economy. It's going to be ZhuGeLiang who's going to be more under fire, and he's willing to kind of play that role. Willing to be that buffer zone, if you will. Meanwhile, as we assumed, Roach Warren. Yep, Roach Warren's on the way for ZhuGeLiang. No Ling speed into a faster lair. So it's a 345 lair timing, or 340 lair timing here by ZhuGeLiang. Going into Roach Ravager. As we have the Stargate opener out of Trigger. dips in, gets 2 drones, but takes a lot of hits, takes a lot of damage, has to pull away. Behind this 3cc out of Clem, going for a 3cc 2-on-1, working towards a double medevac bio timing here with 16 Marines. Playing it like it's a 1v1. Let's go. As Stim is on the way. Clem, basically, he cut Hellion production early on, so it's only 4 Hellions. Only 4 Hellions, and then into a Stim timing. There's the add-on swap into those 2 medevacs to move out across the map. So far, Clem just trying to maintain control of the creep. Behind this, it was Stargate opener out of Trigger into Oracle into what looks to be a more ground-focused composition. No Twilight Council yet. Just a Robo and a Forge. They're just now on the way for Serral. And from here, I would imagine Serral once again is going to, as he shuts down the Oracle, but I would imagine once again Serral's going to go into Ling Hydra. I would assume. We'll see. Yeah, there it is. Hydra then is being thrown down. So 2 games in a row now, we see Serral going into Hydra Tech. In a much more standard setup. Oracle gets turned away. And basically, we've had a bit of a more passive start to the game until this moment. As a reminder, Clem, his Hellion count was intentionally low for the Stim timing. And here we go. We have 2 medevacs full of Marines, 14 Marines, 2 medevacs alongside Stim. And now it's time for Clem to come online. And as Clem's being aggressive, Trigger he's building up. Remember, Stargate opener and now into a 3-way setup in towards Charge +1 Immortal production. The tech and upgrade is going to be a little bit later for Trigger. So Trigger needs more time, and Clem is here to give Trigger that time. So he does Stim in. Taking up a couple of roaches. Dropping into the main. Queen's in position. Oh my god! Whew, as the medevac does pull away in time. Whew. Clutch defense. Serral, he was in position. Does deny the medevacs. Likewise surrounds one of the Hellions. 3 Hellions left over. ZhuGeLiang forcing Clem back. But again, the goal here for Clem is to keep the Zerg players busy while Trigger reaches his final form. I say final form. Reaches his first form, I should say. Still getting to charge. Into Archons, Storm, Immortals. Trigger still needs more time. Meanwhile, Clem and going for the gold. Takes over the gold expansion. Now has a boosted economy. Setting up his tanks. And this is very similar to the previous game we just casted, with ZhuGeLiang going Roach Ravager and Serral going Ling Bane Hydra. I mean, last game we didn't see any Banelings out of Serral, just Ling Hydra. We'll get into that point. Ooh. As medevacs, they barely do get away once again. Ooh, I spoke too soon! 1 medevac goes down. Meanwhile, both Trigger and Clem are just securing themselves. Storm is almost done. That's going to be, what, 5 High Templar gathering energy. That's a lot of Storm. Here comes the main push. We still need a couple more seconds, though. You can see here, Storm is being chronoed as we speak. Yeah, the push has begun. As the blue army moves out, we do have a Ling Bane run by being set up here towards the 3rd. Decent concave by ZhuGeLiang. Try to slow this down. Ooh, we'll lose a queen. Queen does get away. Last slowing down the push. Bailey's a waddle into the middle, and Clem, he does react in time. He pulls away. Yeah, pulls away, shuts down the Ling Bane. Bailey's speed not done in time either. Now can focus on the push. And with Storm support, I mean, can this be dealt with? Lemmy stims in, shuts down some Ling Bane. There's no Storm available. No! Trigger! Leaves out a High Templar, an expensive loss. Yeah, a bit of an overstep there from Trigger. At the same time, goes for a Zealot run by. Another Storm gets spent. But remember, he's got, what, 3 more High Templar behind this. Army collapses in. But he's pushing into 3 tanks, 4 tanks even. Yeah, massive tank shots going up. Ravager piles are a little bit lackluster. And both Clem and Trigger, they break through the main armies. They stim in. And there's just not much left over. GG gets called. The Zerg army gets broken. And Clem and Trigger, they take game number 1. Whew. GG. GG, well played. Whew, I get a very strong start here for our NA duo. Question mark with Trigger and Clem. Again, they had a relatively passive start. I say passive. Trigger had a passive start. It was Clem that was just buying time, building up, and just giving Trigger the room he needed to build up towards Storm, towards those Immortals as well, towards that massive move out, that massive push. Unfortunately, when it comes to Serral and ZhuGeLiang's engagement there, it was really rough. They did try to set up the surround, that is true, but honestly, Trigger and Clem did a great job at just splitting up their armies, having Storms in both locations, zoning away the army. Link Bane wasn't really too much of a factor, just could not touch the army because of the Storms, and those tanks got so much value in the back line against the Roaches. It was a terrifying push, I'll be honest. It was terrifying. GG, well played. It's one of those things where if it was just a Terran army, that's where they're vulnerable to that kind of surround. But with Storms, I mean, that's the issue, though. That's the answer to the problem there. It just zones away the Link Bane, shuts it down, makes sure that ZhuGeLiang and Serral just could not get on top of those tanks. It took them a long time to actually break through that line, and they didn't even clean up all the tanks either. They just could not get close enough. GG. GG, well played. With that leads us into game number 2, and we'll see how our Zerg team are able to deal with this. And I'm hoping for an ace match. I'm hoping for a back and forth. The pressure is on. Pressure is on, and here we go. We are spawning in the bottom right hand corner. In the bottom right hand corner here of Crimson Research Lab, we have our Finnish team. We have our double Zerg. We have Serral and ZhuGeLiang. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have their opponents. We have the Canadian Protoss, the French Terran. We have the duo of Clem and Trigger. Let's go. And we're loading into Crimson Research Lab for the first time, actually. For the very first time. We have shared main bases. We have somewhat shared naturals. I say somewhat because there are multiple entrances here. We have a ramp on the right-hand side. We have a ramp on the left. But this is actually another pocket base, so never mind. It's actually quite a secure location here. One player gets a free pocket. In a sense, a free pocket. There are rocks to be knocked down to gain access to the space. But overall, this does look like a bit of a larger map here. More secure bases, more secure locations, and even gold bases as well. Oh boy. Here we go. Meanwhile, again, last game we did have a more standard setup. It was ZhuGeLiang who had gone into earlier commitment into Roach Ravager. It was Serral that had gone for a much more standard Ling Hydra kind of composition. We'll see if they mix it up. As we did see Serral go into 2-Ace Muta 1 so far tonight, which means that he has that available to him if he so chooses. Is a risky kind of style to play though, as you're heavily reliant on not being scouted. We'll see. We shall see. So far the openers are as they should be. Economic openers all around. No early tech, no early aggression. Overlord's getting in position. It looks like they're just trying to ping each other, trying to notify each other about that pocket expansion. And I would imagine Serral's going to take it. Similarly to the previous game, I would imagine that Serral is going to take the safer expansions. Intentionally so he can, you know, kind of secure himself. As we're also checking for the opponent's pocket. Now, as a reminder, last game, Clem did go 3CC2-1-1. We'll see if he goes for the same build. I mean, we saw the power behind it. Stargate opening 2 games in a row by Clem. Sorry, by Trigger, meant to say. Trigger going Stargate. Reaper gets owned away. Ooh, and that is going to be a very fast lair here out of Serral, which means 2-Base Muta. We saw this once already here tonight. Now we're seeing it for the second time. 2-Base Muta out of Serral. And can he keep this hidden? Now, what I'm most concerned by about this 2-Base Muta is the Stargate opener. Is a Stargate opener with the Oracle as well. there is a chance that Trigger's going to be able to see this ahead of time. Speaking of Trigger, he shades in. No shot. Shades in. Gets distracted by the drones. Gets one. Just the one. He does not scout the lair timing. Doesn't scout. Doesn't check. Clem going to be forced back. It's going to be forced back here. Scout is going to be denied for the time being. Oracle's on the way. Lair is now done. Here comes that Spire. And the Oracle is going straight down mid, mainly focusing actually on the left-hand side towards ZhuGeLiang. ZhuGeLiang also going for an early Lair. Notice quickly as Serral's. Again, this should just be for roaches. As we've seen, yeah, just roaches into roach speed. Serral did take the pocket. And Trigger, he does get eyes on the Roach Ravager. He rushes past, sees the fast lair, and he confirms the Spire result. Massive catch here for Trigger. He sees everything. He confirms. Does confirm. Behind this, we should be getting ready. There we go. Phoenix production has begun. We already saw 3CC 2-on-1. Same build. Same build 2 games in a row. 3CC 2-on-1 out of the Clem. Even greedier because Clem is getting his 3rd CC on location. And this is going to be brutal. Like, in general, 2-on-1s, they completely shut down Mutaplay. Even more so here. As we have the initial 2-on-1 alongside Phoenixes to support as well. This is not going to be easy for Serral. As there's going to be plenty of anti-air. Second target on the way. Phoenixes are revealed. And what's the plan going to be here? I mean, Serral, he knows that there are Phoenixes. We have a Hydrogen for ZhuGeLiang. Stasis going up. Catching 2 drones. And Serral is going Corruptor. Okay, I like this. So on the one hand, we get a Revelation as well. Basically, with this Revelation, we're keeping eyes, we're keeping tabs on the eggs. And we are morphing in Corruptors in the main. So Trigger, he will be able to confirm. Now, the reason why Serral is going Corruptor and he's hard switching into a Hydrogen and Infestation bit is because he knows that mutas aren't going to work. He knows that mutas will just kill him. We'll get him killed, I should say. So the Corruptors are intentional to have some kind of value with that tech. Marines, they stim in, they focus on the roaches. Corruptors are revealed. And we spoke about that 2-on-1 timing. Ooh, is forced to pick up. Has to pick up, does pull away. We have +1 air attack here from Trigger. And so he will catch 1 Phoenix. Not bad. Gets a Phoenix, almost gets another. So he's going to be forced back. And we do see this is what's a little bit awkward about our duo here. Both players are rushing into lurkers. Both players are working towards lurker tech. I think they have to. I mean, where else can they go from here? Corruptors, they rotate over. Corruptors, they do a great job here against Phoenixes, but last they do avoid each other. Going for the 3rd CC. Clem out of position. He's boosting over. It's going to be close. Base taking a lot of hits. There's the mass repair. The CC is getting low. Up, down to half HP, but the repairs are good enough, and Clem, he's in position. Does respond in time. He's forced to stay at home. Serral buying time here for his own Hydras. And again, it's still a very awkward transition for Serral. As he's just now still working towards Hydra speed. Lurker Dead now finishing. Trigger is rotating. Keeping tabs on his opponents. Still going Mass Phoenix. So got Anion Pulse Crystals on the way. +1 air attack. And here comes the Bio Push from Clem. Catching him on Corruptors. Corruptors falling. Nice catch on the Queen. They're going to be knocking down those rocks. And Lurkers are good, but that's what the Phoenixes are for. They're going to be here to lift. Lifts and deny every single lurker. Oh, there's a scan. And Trigger, he has his job. Can he lift in time? So far, Clem trying to stem in. Oof. Gets punished. get punished for it. They do threaten the Corruptors at least. Spine shots going up. Corruptors are going down. And up. Oh, doesn't quite get a lurker. And not quite. Tanks, though, they're getting a lot of damage on in the back line. Tank does fall. And it looks like ZhuGeLiang and Serral, they're holding. They got to hold on. They force back Clem. They fall. Oh my god. Massive spine shots. Spine shots, they pop up. Clem overextends. And we hold. Red team holds. Clem trigger, they rotate. They rotate over. Throughout all this, Serral and ZhuGeLiang, they were sneaking out bases, sneaking out expansions. Blue team is not aware. As we get into this, a big shout to Cyan in the chat. Amiga. Fala galera. Fala galera. Thank you so much for the raid. Hope you had a great stream. Hope you had a great cast or ladder session. Welcome. Bienvenidos. Obrigado, papi. Obrigado. These they're popping up. Let's shut down more of those overlords. Hydra's moving in. No lurkers in position. Bear that in mind. Lurkers are left behind. Blue army does rotate, and lurkers are going to get lifted. There's no support. Massive pickoffs. Every lurker's going to go down. Ay, ay, ay. Yeah, ZhuGeLiang and Serral, they were distracted by the drop play. Lurker count gets completely reset. Vipers coming in. They can try to power bomb. And there's not enough bio here, so it looks like our red team here going to be able to hold. They force back the army. Base survives. Liberator still denying mining time. Serral, he plummets in supply here. He barely has an economy. Yeah, he barely has one. He's on 2.5 bases. And again, it's just been really expensive for him to switch from Corruptor, from Spire Tech, into Hydra Lurker, Viper. He's still trying to recover. ZhuGeLiang is almost maxed. Almost maxed out. We have more Skytoss on the way. Mass Tempest production. Ay, ay, ay. Trigger finds more Overlords. Does supply block. Only one Spore. Just the one Spore position. And Serral, he's getting torn apart here. Yeah, he just cannot keep up. Hydras, they respond. They rotate pieces. They just dip on out. They get the hell out of there. And here comes Clem. Only 3 lurkers to defend. It's not going to be enough. Clem, he sims on in. He breaks through. Takes down 4 lurkers. 5 every single lurker. Oh my god. There's just nothing here. Brutally EMP on those Vipers. ZhuGeLiang, he arrives. Once again, they're getting picked apart. Massive powerbomb, though. Oh my god. The panic splits. Very nice spread by Trigger. Spreads out the pieces, avoids the powerbomb. And they've done it. They've broken through the defensive line. There's almost nothing left here to defend. There's a handful of Hydras, handful of Roaches. GG gets called. And Clem and Trigger, they will take the series 2-0. GG. GG, well played, congratulations. They will claim the series here. Again, a really rough start for Serral and ZhuGeLiang. As a reminder, Serral, he was trying to go 2-base Muta. He got scouted. He was forced into Corruptor and forced to try to transition into Hydra Lurker. But again, it's just a very expensive transition from one into the other. Bearing in mind, with 2-base Muta, you do delay your own economy in favor of those extra gases. So he slowed down so heavily in doing so, and it just wasn't quite worth it in the end. He had to make Corruptors do something with the Spire, but alas, did kind of stumble on his way towards the mid game. And likewise, that pocket base, a base that was meant to be safe, was anything but safe. Both Trigger and Clem did hyperfixate on that pocket expansion, making sure that Serral never really had an economy to sustain himself. GG, well played. Whew. With that, Clem and Trigger, they will take it. They will advance on to the grand finals, and the question becomes, who will join them in those finals? As we are getting ready here for our next series, we're getting ready for a different matchup. Here we go. We have Alasia and Skillus playing for the first time, I believe. I don't think we were able to feature them last month, so great to see them joining forces here today. I want to say last time we saw Alasia with Geralt, if I remember correctly. Yeah, it was Alasia and Geralt that were playing together. I remember because Indy was casting them. But it looks like this month, this time, no Geralt, Skillus instead. Nikita, papi, Nikita. Let's go.